Alright, man, welcome back to another True Crime Reaction. Today we've got the interrogation of John Dobbs. Yeah, like always, let's not waste any time. Just get right into this one, man. Nope, stop. Viewer discretion is advised. The following is pretty disturbing for a certain set of the audience, and continue at your own risk, man.
Most of you have heard about the self-defense case of Kyle Rittenhouse.
I have not.
Without getting into too many details, Kyle shot 3 men, killing 2 and wounding 1, in what he claimed was self-defense. After a lengthy court trial, Kyle was acquitted of the murder charges, as the jury agreed that he did in fact act in self-defense.
Okay, I was about to say, what the fuck does acquitted mean, but obviously we know that means it was dropped.
Happened back in 2006, where a man named John Wesley Dobbs was attacked by 3 men outside of a club in Orlando, Florida.
But like he was saying,
Can they get in?
there's a fight that took place in the parking lot. Okay, and we already know all that. Okay, and we're just here. We just want your side of the story of what happened. That's the only thing we want. You know, there's a couple of guys we know that's been stabbed. Okay?
Dude, holy shit, this quality is definitely 2006 quality.
So we just want your side of the story of what happened. All right, because there's always 2 sides to every story. You know what I mean? And we just want you to tell us what exactly happened here.
We're looking at you. You got blood all over you. We know you're involved in something. We don't know how it started. We got like one side of it. We got their side of what happened. Okay. We're here to get you.
Do they have surveillance cameras for the parking lot?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
But unfortunately for you, the surveillance cameras only cover the front half of the parking lot.
Damn.
The area where you were, no.
This is John Dobbs, and in
Damn, that's fucking crucial.
2006, he was living in Georgia with his girlfriend of 3 years named Deanna. John had 3 children that lived with their mother in Florida, and he would drive out to see them when work would allow it.
Okay.
He decided to take one of these trips with Deanna in October of 2006, and together, they spent several days with his 3 children. After the visit, the couple decided to visit the Dollhouse Club before returning to Georgia. The decision to stop at this club would change John's life forever.
So we got their stories. We got the people working there stories.
People working there saying.
Again, we'll get to that. Okay, but I'm just laying this out for you. We got those stories. We got your girlfriend over here. We're gonna talk to her.
You got her now?
Yeah, she's here. And we get everybody's side of what happened. I mean, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, it's not difficult at all.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what.
Okay, first, before I let you do that, I have to read you your rights. Okay, because this is a crime.
This one's already mad interesting, bro.
I don't know what started this. They are really pretty vague on what started this.
Of course.
Okay. So what we're here is to get the whole story. Okay. And with that in mind, do you want to tell us what happened?
What happens next depends on who you ask. According to John, he and Deanna left the club and went to their car around 2 in the morning. After Deanna got into the passenger side, John noticed 4 men walking to his car. Before he could react, they surrounded him and beat him to the ground. John did his best to defend himself, and that's when he heard cries from his girlfriend as she tried to help him fight off his attackers. At that moment, John decided he would have to protect Deanna, so he pulled out his pocket knife and began to swing it in the direction of the 4 men. He would wound 3 of the men.
Bro, holy fuck. Alright, first off, were they robbing him? Were they taking something? Like, what was the initial initiative? What was the initial reasoning for this happening, right? Because 4 men don't just randomly walk up to one guy and say, you know what, we're gonna go beat up this guy. You know what I'm saying? Was there, like, there had to be another fucking reason. Holy shit, though. He pulled out his pocket knife, bro. What the fuck?
So he pulled out his pocket knife and began to swing it in the direction of the 4 men. He would wound 3 of the men and ultimately kill 1 of them.
And what transpired there?
No, he was just questioning me about chicks, because my girl calls me daddy, and we was playing around talking to the dancers there, and I was like, my girl calls me daddy. He was like, oh, you got hoes, and I was like, nah, why everybody thinking because somebody called me daddy that I got hoes, and And then he just gave me a bad vibe, but I was just like, leave him. So I went outside, and I guess they was plotting on me or something.
And when you say they, how many?
I mean, I seen them with at least 3, 4 other guys.
Okay, and were they all outside the club when you got out, or were they?
Well, I was getting in my car, and they was getting in the car, a couple of car measures away from me.
What kind of car?
What kind of car were they getting in? I don't know. I wasn't watching all that. I just heard them say something like, "Oh, you see, he got the security around him, and he grabbed his girl and he left." And he called me a player before, so I figured it was just gonna be a conversation. So I mean, basically.
So there was obviously an altercation, verbally beforehand.
He said that, and I was like, kind of thrown off, like, they was kind of laughing, so I was like, maybe I said talk a little shit, So I didn't exactly get in the car. I walked to the back of my car, but one of the guys started walking toward me fast. Then I caught the vibe, like, hold up, this guy looks like he wants to fight.
Is this the same one you were talking to inside?
No, this is just a different one.
The police report would match John's description of what happened, except that there were only 3 men, and John had become involved in a verbal altercation with one of the men prior to being attacked. Shortly after John began using the knife, the 3 men would retreat, and he and Deanna would drive away, only to be arrested a short while later.
Okay, and as he approached you, what happened?
As he approached me, he looked like he was ready to fight. And that's when I said, hold up. I said, we're not gonna fight.
Where are you at this time?
Standing at the trunk of my car.
So you were getting in your car and you came around to the trunk area?
Yeah, but I didn't realize his friend was gonna come over there.
So you were actually like in conversation, or?
Well, I heard what he said, and I was getting ready to say, hey, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? There's plenty of girls that go around, whatever, talk shit, whatever, But then I seen this boy rushing towards me, like, like I said, man. So then the boy comes to me, and I'm telling this boy, like, yo, there ain't gonna be no fighting or none of that shit, right? My girl's already sitting in the car because I unlocked the door for her. And all of a sudden he hit me, boom. Like he came up to me and he just hit me, boom. And I'm like, where the hell is this coming from? So I try to back him up a little.
This motherfucker's straight just lying out his ass, bro.
And
Now, when this guy hit you,
sorry, I don't believe him at all.
Yeah, he hit me in the face but I kind of like moved a little bit. And it still hit me in the face though, He still hit me in the face up.
Okay, so your recollection is clear what happened?
Up until the point where, the kid was banging me around like a rag doll. Understand?
This is the kind of stout.
He's beating your ass.
This is the one that's stout, the first one?
Yeah, but all of them was bigger than me.
So he hits you.
He hit me bad.
You trying to get space.
Well, what it was like he hit me, and it was automatically a fight. Like, so I tried to like swing and back him off, and then I was thinking like, I'm gonna have to hit this guy in his head. So I tried to hit him, and then I seen the other guys coming, and that's when I had a pocket knife. I pulled it out.
Where was that?
Where was the pocket knife?
In your front pocket?
It was in my back pocket. I had originally told them that it wasn't mine, but it was.
Under Florida state law, known as the Stand Your Ground Law, it states, a person who is not engaged in an unlawful activity and who is attacked has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand their ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if they believe it is necessary to do so to prevent death or great bodily harm.
Dude, that law is fucking wild. Holy shit. So essentially, you don't have to retreat if someone's attacking you. Like in most states, when someone's attacking you, right? The second you can retreat, if you don't retreat and you stay there, or you try to like fight back or whatever the fuck, or not fight back, re-engage in the altercation, you become on the bad side or some shit. It's like weird. Bro, you literally don't have to. You could just sit there and be like, yeah, come on, brother. I got my gun too, brother. Like, what in the actual fuck? That's insane. Hold up. I want him to reread that one more time, just because that's actually wild. That law's insane,
I
bro.
originally told them that it wasn't mine, but it was.
Under Florida state law known as the Stand Your Ground Law, it states, a person who is not engaged in an unlawful activity and who is attacked has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand their ground and meet force with force, including deadly force
That's so
if they
insane.
believe it is necessary to do so to
They don't have to retreat. They can. Oh my god, that's so insane. So if you're just a bystander, you can.
prevent death or great bodily harm. With this information, it would seem that John Dobbs did in fact act in self-defense. So why is he still in prison over a decade later?
Well, because he lied, right? Obviously.
Then after that,
It's obviously not what happened.
I don't remember nothing because the guy had me by my shirt. And one of the big guys had me by my shirt. Because one guy came up, I remember that, and I was like, I looked at him, he didn't move. So I said, this guy's not fighting. And I said it out loud. So then I just, boom, turned around. And I remember, matter of fact, yeah, my girl got out of the car because they was jumping on me. And she tried to push them off of me, like, yo, get off of him, get off of him, And
Did you see any of the workers or the bouncers or anything out
I
there?
couldn't see nobody. Actually, I couldn't see nobody. I was blacked out. I mean, during the whole process, I was trying to grab. I was getting hit so many times. I was trying to grab focus, but I was still swinging with the knife.
Okay.
And that was it. That's all I could remember. That's all I could remember, except for that. I don't remember much. All I remember is that I couldn't really see nothing, and they laid off of me for a second. And there was a point where,
Were you
I was grabbing at some of their stuff, trying to grab it, because I know they had the knife. They had a knife trying to cut me. You know what I'm saying?
You know which one had the knife?
Wait, what? Wait, when did the other guy get the knife? What the fuck? What did I miss something?
That I couldn't really see nothing, and they laid off of me for a second. And there was a point where,
Were you
I was grabbing at some of their stuff, trying to grab it, because I know they had the knife. They had a knife trying to cut me. You know what I'm saying?
You know which one had the knife?
I don't know.
Did they ever cut you?
Yeah, they cut my arm.
The left arm?
Yeah, the left arm, they cut it.
It seems that the main argument in this case was that
Do not get into a fight if you can possibly avoid it. If you get in, see it through. Don't hit if it is honorably possible to avoid hitting, but to never hit soft. Don't hit at all if you can help it. Don't hit a man if you can possibly avoid it, but if you do hit him, put him to sleep. What is this, Muhammad Ali?
John had the opportunity to avoid danger, and because he chose to fight instead of run, then he is in fact guilty. But now, let's take a closer look. We do not know if John had the opportunity to leave the area before the fight, but we do know that the fight took place by the passenger side door of John's car. This shows us that the men approached John.
It's fucking Theodore Roosevelt.
Now, there isn't a law against speaking your mind to another
Theodore
person,
Roosevelt. See, I didn't even see the thing. I just saw a side of his face.
as long as you do not touch them. So John would argue with the man that approached him. At some point, the argument became physical between John and the man, and according to witnesses,
Okay,
John
sorry.
had-
I was just so focused on seeing Theodore. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, go back.
do know that the fight took place by the passenger side door of John's car. This
The left arm?
Yeah, the left arm, they cut it.
That
It
quote is
seems that
wild.
the main argument in this case was that John had the opportunity to avoid danger, and because he chose to fight instead of run, then he is in fact guilty. But now, let's take a closer look. We do not know if John had the opportunity to leave the area before the fight, but we do know that the fight took place by the passenger side door of John's car. This shows us that the men approached John. Now, there isn't a law against speaking your mind to another person, as long as you do not touch them. So John would argue with the man that approached him. At some point, the argument became physical between John and the man, and according to witnesses, John had the upper hand in the fight, which would cause the other man's friends to join in the brawl. John would realize that he was outnumbered, plus his girlfriend was getting involved as well. This would cause him to pull out the knife and use it.
Hey, John, let me ask you.
I
At
see.
the point where you pulled your knife out, okay, these guys are really gonna beat you half to death. Okay, at that point.
Yeah, the only point, like, I mean, just be 100% honest here, okay? In a fight, right, it is obviously extremely dangerous, right? Anything can happen in a fight, especially a street fight. You fall over, you hit your head on the concrete, whatever the fuck. Same thing for if you fall on the ground. If you're on the ground and they start kicking you, that's how people die, right? They curb stomp you, they stomp on their head, it's just over, right? But at the same time, does that justify him pulling out a weapon in the 3-on? I don't know, dude. This one's a wild case. I don't think so. I don't think pulling out a weapon in that scenario. I don't think pulling out a weapon is justified. But this is a wild case,
Beat
man.
you half to death. Okay, at that point, do you recall when you pulled your knife out? Yeah, at the point you pulled your knife out, do you know if you stabbed someone then, or you tried to cut someone then? Can you kind of explain that to me?
I know, first, I wanted to make sure that he seen it so he would have backed up. I know that much.
So,
And the
did
kid
you
kept
just
trying to
hold
hit
your
me.
knife like this, and
Huh?
like this? Is that how you did? You just brought the knife up like this?
Yeah, and then I tried to, like, you know, I wanted to hit him, but he was hitting me on this side. As a matter of fact, I remember the beginning. He was hitting me on this side, so I was blocking with my left, and I wanted to hit him with my right.
Okay.
And it came to the point where I was trying to hit him, like, I had the knife in my hand, but I was trying to hit him with my hand, actually.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? At the same time, I wanted him to back up, but he just wouldn't back up. So I guess I might have said, fuck it, like, and tried to swing at him, like, cut him. You know what I'm saying?
So that way, when you went to swing at him, you were actually going to hit him, but the knife cut him? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
actually, I was trying to, like, you know, punch him, hit him, and
Yeah.
it wasn't, like, you know, I knew I wasn't going to get a good hit because my way my hand was positioned.
Uh-huh.
It was just like more, I just wanted him, I didn't think the whole thing was going to be that serious. It just jumped off crazy for me.
John claims
This
that the
is
3 men
wild.
threatened him as he left the club, telling him that he would need security to escort him to his vehicle. This is where criminal threatening and assault come into play.
Wait, what?
His vehicle threatened him as he left the club, telling him that he would need security to escort him to his vehicle. This is where criminal threatening and assault come into play. A criminal threat is a threat that must be capable of making the person who hears it feel as if they might be hurt, and the threat has to be credible and real. In some states, an assault can take place without a person ever touching their victim.
What? Okay, that's wild. Because isn't the whole point of assault? Well, I guess, could it still be assault if, like, you used... Because, like, obviously assault is where you, physically harm someone else with your fists, right? You assault them, right? But I wonder if what he's talking about is like maybe they use an item or like a not really a blade, but like a bat or something. I don't know. How the fucking assault happen without them? That doesn't even make sense.
Person who hears it
I hope he explains
feel as
that.
if they might be hurt, and the threat has to be credible and real. In some states, an assault can take place without a person ever touching their victim. Words alone do not constitute an assault, but if the person uses threatening words and gestures while approaching their victim, that could be considered assault.
That's weird. What? So you can commit assault by not ever committing assault? What the fuck?
Threatening words and gestures while approaching their victim.
For a crime to occur, it must be harm. Either physical or verbal harm is external. Thinking about committing a crime is not a crime. A verbal threat to strike another person is a crime.
That could be considered assault. For example, if you told someone you're going to punch them and you are capable of doing that, then that could be considered a criminal threat. But if you were to say that as you approach that person in a threatening manner, that could then be considered assault. If John...
Wait. Even though you didn't do it yet? What? Wait, so what the fuck's the difference of... No. Explain that again, because what's the difference? The difference is me walking? That's the difference?
Words and gestures while approaching their victim that could be considered assault. For example, if you told someone you're going to punch them and you are capable of doing that, then that could be considered a criminal threat.
A criminal threat. Okay. So if I'm right in front of you and I say I'm going to punch you, that obviously could be considered a criminal threat because I'm in front of you and I can punch you. Right?
But if you were to say that as you approach that person in
the second one though, like if I was to say it as I approach them, it feels like the exact same thing. What do you mean? It's me saying it as I'm in front of you and I can actually punch you. It's the same thing, is it not? What the fuck?
a threatening manner.
What classifies a threatening manner? What is that? Walking towards someone? Walking towards someone fast? Walking towards someone... Like, what's a threatening manner? I don't...
It could then be...
Isn't the whole thing, the whole altercation, threatening, like talking to someone and saying I'm gonna punch you, isn't that kind of threatening? This whole thing is fucking wild, man.
Considered assault. If John's attackers were approaching him in a threatening manner using verbal threats, that would mean he was being assaulted first, and the stand your ground law we discussed earlier would come into play.
If they were making verbal threats before they pulled up. I guess this is why I don't do... This is why I just watch this shit, right? And I'm not, like, actually there, like, judging it. Because this is just mind-boggling me. It feels like exactly the same.
Man,
Okay, look, let me explain to you, because these guys have been stabbed in the chest, like a puncture wound in the chest, like when he was stabbed like that instead of cut. Okay? I mean, he's not dead or anything, but what I'm saying is he's stabbed. Well, to tell you the truth, all three of them are stabbed in the chest. Okay? And what those guys are saying is that you stabbed them. Okay? And it's obvious that you did stab them.
I'm by my car. I'm standing by my car. They come from all the way over
Jesus.
there. I'm getting hit. I don't know what I didn't know. I never stabbed nobody before. You understand? I just was swinging the knife. You understand?
Okay, let me ask you this. How many...
I didn't even know if I hit them right.
Okay.
I thought maybe I was missing.
Sure, I understand. John, but if you had to say, how many times do you think you stabbed those guys?
Oh my God, please, man. I don't know what the hell was going on, man.
Okay.
I don't know. I was barely able to stand.
Okay.
The only reason I was really probably standing because the guy was holding my shirt.
Okay, I've been in some fights before, okay, and I know when the fight's going
That's
on,
it.
you got
That's
all
it.
this.
I don't want to talk about it no
You're
more.
excited.
That's it. I don't
stuff
want
like
to talk
that.
about it no more. I told you everything, man. I'm not gonna put myself in that position no more than it's already there.
Well, that's up to you. I mean, you can explain to us if you want to, or but I'm here just trying to help you, man. That's all I'm trying to do.
The detectives know that one of the attackers John stabbed is dead, but because they are allowed to lie,
Jesus
they tell him that
Christ.
nobody has died because of this incident.
Yeah, to try to help him, like, open up, right? So he doesn't think that...
John realizes that something isn't right, as he believes that this should be a simple case of self-defense. So he tells the detectives he is done speaking. They want to keep John talking, so they tell him another lie by saying that they are on his side and they want to help him.
So you went to sign in your car, and then these guys started talking some shit to you.
Well, they came up to me. You understand? They came up to me. I didn't come up to them. Okay.
Okay.
What stopped you from getting in your car and leave?
When?
When you were at your car and he started running his mouth, what stopped you from getting in your car and leave?
I mean,
I
this guy kind of just made the ultimate point, man. If you know, like, you're by yourself, you're there with, your girl, and there's a couple motherfuckers that you've already kind of had an altercation with, there's multiple of them, you should just leave the situation to begin with. Get out, leave, get in your car, just fucking peace out. Get the fuck out of there, man.
I guess because I was bored. I was surprised the club was closing at 2 o'clock. And I figured, we was just gonna talk shit. I figured I was going to introduce myself to more people. That's it. I figured I was going to be social. You know, I thought, I figured I was going to be like, stand up dude. They saying something smart. I ain't figured we was going to get real serious. I mean, we grown men. What the hell we going to do something like that? We don't even know each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't supposed to be here. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't supposed to be in handcuffs right now. If anything, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the only thing is that I didn't call you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing.
All right, let's go see what's her side. Okay.
If I'd have called you guys, probably would I be in handcuffs if I called you guys?
Yeah, probably.
Probably say you had a weapon.
I feel like until they know everything, everyone should be, looked at equally, man. You know what I mean?
That's what we didn't call no weapon.
They didn't have no weapon? Then how the hell did they cut me?
Yeah, we gotta look at that.
John did have a deep cut on his arm, but the only knife that was found was the one that he had been carrying. The detectives also asked John why he did not call the police after leaving the scene, and John tells them that it was because he had a gun in his possession and he did not know what he should do with it. They believe that if John truly felt that he was justified in using the knife as self-defense, then why did he not call the police to let them know what happened and turn himself in?
Hey, John, you got a cell phone in your car?
Yeah, I got
I mean,
two
very
cell
true.
phones somewhere, probably in my property that y'all got.
So, can you tell me why you didn't call the sheriff's office when all this happened?
Man, I was just like, let me get the hell out of here, man. Then I was driving real slow, just stuck and thinking, And then like I said, I was mostly thinking about that gun. I was like, what I'm gonna do with this, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like,
So you were thinking of, as far as the gun, you were thinking what you could do with the gun instead of calling the sheriff's office?
I was thinking about what am I gonna do with it, if I'm gonna keep it, throw it away, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, let me just go, and I was thinking about my blood that was dripping down my face. I had a lot of blood dripping down my face at the moment. And I was asking my girl if I need stitches and stuff like that, and she was like, yo, you might need stitches, let's go to the hospital, then you call the police. And I was like, I said, let me go to the hotel and look in the mirror first.
See, that's the other thing, though, because if you had a cell phone with you, I was wondering why you didn't go ahead and call the sheriff's office. I mean, if I had just been in a fight...
Bro, what is this random, thing right here? What is this? I've been, staring at this whole time without saying nothing. What the fuck is this? Is this, they forget a fucking piece of tape or something? What is this?
I mean, as a practical person, and you appear to me to be a practical,
Yeah, I'm a practical person, but I'm not gonna lie, I've never called the police.
Sure, I understand that, but you have to talk about. I mean, I can understand if you were just in a fist fight, but there are some guys that's been stabbed.
Yeah, but I didn't even realize I was poking them. I didn't even realize that I was actually getting to them.
Okay.
You understand? As a matter of fact, I realized it at the last second.
The detectives
You
listened.
realized it at the last second? Okay, so then because he's talking about after the fact, why he didn't call. All this took place after the fight. If he realizes, oh wait, I was stabbing him at the end of the fight, then he would have known then after the fact.
And as John explains that he had...
I realized it at the last second.
The detectives listen as John explains that he had no reason to believe that anyone wanted to fight him and that the three men approached him as he was getting into his car. John can't understand why he is at fault, so the detectives tell him that based on all of the information they have from eyewitnesses, he had plenty of opportunity to leave the scene. John cannot believe what he is hearing, so he does his best to explain why he had to defend himself.
Do you understand? We had no words of conflict. I did not know I had a problem. Why would I leave? You understand? And then I didn't go towards them. I was at my car. You understand? I don't have the right to stand by my car. I mean, this is going to ruin my life. It's going to ruin my girl's life and everything. And I know that you guys got to know that basically there's no way that I initiated anything.
You're in a parking lot, you guys get involved in the fight, you bring out a knife.
Hold up. I'm in the parking lot, I'm standing by my car, three guys start running at me. One of them starts walking to me fast. He swings on me. Then the other one starts running at me. I thought it was more than three. I thought it was 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, but based on all the facts of the case,
Jesus, man.
the facts, the people that were there, that is the valet and
Yeah,
everything.
but they say,
based on what you told me and based on what they told me, there was opportunity enough for you to leave. You said you weren't down.
hold on. I told you they was holding me. I told you they was holding me, and that's probably the reason why I was standing.
Swinging too.
No, I was swinging with one hand. With one hand. I wasn't free swinging. I couldn't walk anywhere. I couldn't even see where the hell I was going. Half the time I'm bouncing off of my car. I was
Jesus
not
Christ,
in any
man.
position to leave at any moment before then, or else I would have ran.
The detectives decide it's time to let John know that one of the 3 men is now dead. Instead of showing sympathy for the man that is dead, John continues to talk about the situation he is in. John should have stopped talking, or at the very least, shown some emotions at the fact that someone had died at his hand. As all true crime fans know, everything you say or do will be used against you.
Yeah, 100% it gets used against you. I think a lot of people, though, right? A lot of people, they have sympathy for someone until there's like a line, and they have sympathy for someone until that line's crossed. And then once that line is crossed, they don't give a fuck about that person anymore, which is really fucked up to say, but I think that's the reality of how a lot of people think. A lot of motherfuckers think. And I feel like that's no different for him. He obviously he doesn't know this man who he got into a fight with, or the other guys. He doesn't know anything about them. Therefore, I mean, you know what I'm saying? In his eyes, he's probably like, why the fuck would I care? You know what I mean? Which is absolutely egregious. I just want to 100% say that's regardless if you don't know the person or their death isn't gonna affect you, man. You should never like that. I mean, I shouldn't even have to be having this conversation. It's fucking obvious, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. I hate when I have to have these fucking conversations. And I'm, like, sitting here talking to myself. And it's like, it's obvious. It's so obvious. Jesus. All right. Sorry, let's go back to this.
John continues to talk about the situation he is in.
But yeah, that's why I feel like he didn't show any
John
remorse
should have stopped talking,
care.
or at the very least, shown some emotions at the fact that someone had died at his hand.
That's probably
As
why a
all
lot
true
of them
crime
don't.
fans know, everything you say or do will be used against you.
Of
And
course.
John's reaction to hearing this new information will most certainly be used against him.
Well, what I need to tell you, one of them died.
The other people understand that,
that.
though, what I just explained, right? There's no way the jurors don't... I mean, obviously, like, they... Obviously, you don't have to accept that fact, right? You don't have to accept... Not really accept. You don't have to allow it, right? And be like, allow that thing to continue. But you have to acknowledge that that's the way a lot of people think, man. We 100% have to.
I'm serious.
Hell out of here, man. Listen, man. Yo, listen, man. I had no point that I could leave, man.
He had multiple chances. He had multiple chances to leave, though. Especially right when you get to your car. Just get in your car and leave, bro.
I had no point that I could leave, man. The moment that I had a chance to leave, I left, you know. Listen, man, I'm going to lose everything I got. I'm going to come out with nothing. And I don't really have anything right now. You understand? Mm-hmm. I got a couple of things that's supposed to be coming on TV for me rapping. That's it. I don't have any money from it, anything. My kids, I just made them promises and stuff that I was going to bring them. I mean, listen, this was, I don't know how long the fight went. It must have been about 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes.
2 minutes is a long time for a fight.
I was getting
2 minutes is a long time for a fight, bro. Like, the average is, I would say average fight's probably fucking 30, not even 30 seconds. Probably around 30 seconds, honestly.
It was crazy at that moment. And I had no way to leave, man.
Like, motherfuckers think they're gonna be, like, fighting for 5 minutes like it's UFC, bro. You guys are not trained MMA fighters. You guys are gonna throw... Shut the fuck up, bitch. You guys are gonna throw hands for however long and be so gassed after a couple seconds.
I know we leave. The only time that I could have left was before I decided to conversate with them. Mm-hmm. But I didn't go over there thinking I was gonna fight them 3 big-ass dudes.
John would be found guilty of murder and sent to prison. To this day, he and his family continue to claim false imprisonment and that he did in fact act in self-defense. Some say it was because of racial and social profiling. Others say that he is in fact guilty because he chose not to leave when he had the chance.
Yeah, you definitely should have left, bro. That, like, this whole thing is really fucked up. It's a really, really terrible thing because, like, it's... Obviously, someone's life was taken, so the seriousness of it gets increased tenfold, and all the implications, and, like, there's no footage, and, like, this is a lot of fucked up shit. But you can't... He just has to go to jail, man. It's... Someone's life was taken, and I mean, it's... Goddamn, this is a fucked up case.
In my
100%.
videos, I try to stay neutral and let my viewers decide what to think based on the information they are shown.
I want to see what the
John
comments
has
have
a
to say,
YouTube
too.
channel where he shares his story from behind prison walls, and I will leave the link to his channel in the comments below.
Wow,
I would love to hear your thoughts on this case. Was John justified in his actions, or is he guilty of murder?
Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta, if you are the one who's gonna say, yo, whether or not this case is aggravated battery, I mean, whatever.
Aggravated battery? Bro. Someone's dead, man. Someone's dead, dude. Like, it can't only just be aggravated battery, bro. Like, that's the fucked up, like... Even with how shady the details and all these things, and it's fucking word against word, and someone's dead, man. So it's, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Like,
I mean, if you the one,
Jesus,
this
is fucked.
You gotta know that, man. I mean, just listening to what they say, I know that they could violate people. Didn't say that I had a chance to leave during the fight.
Not during the fight, man. But before the fight broke out.
During the conflict, once it started, I know they didn't say I had a chance to leave. Because they was, first of all, the only chance that I might have been able to run was the time when my girl was pushing one of them off of me, and I was trying to get them not to hit her. Mm-hmm. That was the only chance that I had an opportunity where I was free with both hands.
Goddamn, man. Well, if you are guilty, you need a lawyer. If you're innocent, you definitely need a lawyer. Okay, this fucking guy did it again. For proof why you should never talk to the police without a lawyer present. Who jumped him? We're gonna float his laws. He didn't to escape. Stand your ground. You shouldn't. Wow. A lot of people seem to be on the other side. If you are arrested for defending yourself, do not make a statement to the cops. Wow. A lot of people seem to be. I don't know, man. I mean, obviously he could get seriously injured or killed from being jumped by the guys, but you can't. Fuck, I don't know. This case is wild. Holy shit. Y'all not subscribed to Red Tree Crime? What the fuck? How? That's wild. Okay. Wow. Yeah, man. Well, make sure to go subscribe to Red Tree Crime, yeah? Holy shit, what a fucking case. That was insane, man. That was wild. That was absolutely wild.